Hi, so today we have a special guest. He's going to tell us about money. He is going to tell us about how not too much of money is really not that a big deal. Means you can have a lot of money and he will show you the ways. So before me going any further, let me invite Scott. And Scott, I was really impressed with your reverse engineering bank. So how did you get started and what is that term means?
Well, I got started, Sue, and first of all, thank you for having me. Always great to visit with you. Um, got started really out of tragedy. I had
Oh.
to learn to get out of my own way. Had a good job. Most of my adult life, I've been in the corporate world, in the insurance and financial services industry. But I was really feeling trapped in a bad marriage and got into a depression. As long as there was food on the table and a roof overhead, I was doing okay. And then I got laid off from my good job. And so
Oh.
now food on the table and a roof overhead was a challenge. I'm getting foreclosure warnings in the mail. I'm getting calls from bill collectors. And so the depression got worse. And therefore the marriage got worse, and it was a
Oh.
cycle. And as a result of that and the depression, started self-medicating, and I became an alcoholic.
Oh.
And it got bad, even though, so I was unemployed for a while, got back in the insurance industry, another good job. And this time, though, by that point, the drinking had become compulsive. And so even though things were going better, we were separated, getting divorced, which was a better situation, but still, it was compulsive. And one day, as I returned to the office from lunch, I sneak a bottle of vodka in with me. I drink it there at my desk at work, was discovered and terminated. So now I've lost that good job again, and it led to the point where I wrote out my suicide letter. That was my rock
Oh
bottom
my
moment, and that was going
goodness.
to be it. And my daughter at that point was 14 years old, and I thought that the best thing I could do for her was my life insurance money to go towards her care, rather than me being a drain on her and holding her back. That was the best thing I could do for her. Sad that a parent would think that. Obviously, that didn't happen. A number of things, I had my specific plan on that day, November 3rd, 2015. A number of things happened that made me step back and realize God was stepping in and telling me, don't do that. But of course, that didn't answer the question what I was going to do about money. I lost my job. The insurance industry was what I knew. I went into sales, insurance sales, financial sales. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I've got this personal history of failure. And the financial failure included bankruptcy, food stamps, short selling my house. Even did one of those medical experiments where they inject you with an unapproved
Oh my
drug.
goodness.
You stay overnight in their facility so they can monitor your reaction to it, because I thought the most marketable thing I had to sell at that point was my health. So the little voice inside my head tells me, how am I going to help people with their finances when that was my personal financial history?
Absolutely, yeah.
So a number of twists and turns in that journey since 2016. A friend of mine, as I tell him about this, I'm like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to get people to trust me giving financial advice when that's my history. He says, well, who are people going to listen to, going to learn from? Some trust fund baby born into wealth, never faced adversity, or someone like you who's been at the bottom and has worked his way out of it.
Yes, yes.
And I got to thinking, so I do have, I mean, you can focus on the hitting rock bottom in your history, but wouldn't it be better to focus on how you've gotten back up? And therefore how you can help others to get back up.
Yeah, and you are at the rock bottom. You cannot go even below that. So now
Right.
only way you had is to, climb
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Yeah. So but a good thing about that financial history, Sue, is I knew I had to know the right step to take. I couldn't guess at it. I couldn't listen to someone untrustworthy. I had to know that that next step was going in the right direction. So that sent me on my journey of reverse engineering banks. There's typically 3 mistakes that people make when it comes to handling finances. The first is they guess. Trial and error, just guesswork. And that is a financial agnostic. Since financial truth is unknowable, I'm going to sample here, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, and hope I stumble across something that makes me feel good. The second is listening to their broke friends.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
though they know they've got no idea what they're doing, they listen to their broke friends.
Yeah.
That's a financial atheist. Since there is no such thing as financial truth, it doesn't matter who I listen to, who I go to, so therefore I'm just going to connect with who and what I can see and touch around me. The third mistake is listening to one of those financial entertainers yell at you that their way is the only way and everything else is dumb.
Okay.
That's a financial cult. That's follow the leader regardless of what they say. And each of those, I've done each of those, but each of them fails because they violate the rules of history and science. History shows us banks and the wealthy have got it figured out. They know the way to make and leverage money. They blaze that trail already. We don't need to blaze our own trail. And they left breadcrumbs for us to follow so that scientifically we can reverse engineer what they do. Not listen to what they say, because what they say is what makes them money, but we can reverse engineer what they do so that we're on that same trail.
Oh, yeah. You put money in the bank, they will give you what, 1-2%. But if you get loan from bank, it is in double digit, the interest. So,
Well, and it's even worse than that, Sue, because what do banks do with their money? Let's say you go to a bank to take out a mortgage. They'll say, great, Sue, here's your money, buy that house. And then what? Every month after that, you're making payments back into the bank. If I'm the next guy that walks into that bank and I want, let's say, a car loan, they say, great, here's your money, buy your car. And what did they just do? They just gave me your money.
oh, yeah.
And now I'm making monthly payments to the bank.
Oh, yeah.
The next guy that walks in that wants, let's say, a business loan, he gets yours and my money, and every other customer gets every other customer's money, every one of them paying back with interest to the bank. They have created multiple streams of income
Oh, yeah,
for themselves.
absolutely.
And we're not even talking about the ATM fees, the late fees, all the other things. They have 12 different things that banks do to make money. But what really makes them money is how they force multiply. Every dollar that comes in goes right back out and creates more interest that they earn repeated over and over and over again.
Absolutely. My friend always says that he takes his car to the bank so that the car knows who is the real owner. Yeah, and you
Very
think
true.
you own the house, but you miss few payments, and then you will know who is the real owner of the house. I
Yeah,
totally agree with you.
yeah, absolutely. So, so banks, like basically the first thing we learned, reverse engineering banks. Okay, banks take in money. They do not go to the rival bank across the street and say, I want to open up a savings account. I want to open up a CD.
No, they
No,
don't.
they are force multiplying those dollars. They're creating velocity. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they don't wait until that 30-year mortgage is paid off and then say, okay, so now what are we going to do with this money now that it's paid off? That money moves as soon as it comes in, and it creates, while they may be getting, say, 5% on that mortgage loan, now they're moving it again so that they're creating another 6-7% on that car loan and another 10% on that next business loan, multiplied over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So they so money never stays stagnant. Okay? They tell us, give us your money. It's a safe place. We've got a vault. Vault doors are never closed for some reason. Every time you walk in there, the pens are chained to the table, but the vault door is wide open. Wow. I've never understood that. But their money moves. They have a way, they keep their money safe while it's moving. We have to create a way to keep our money safe, have a safe, liquid, guaranteed, and tax-free return on our money, even as we keep it moving.
Yeah, you actually explained really well that why we shouldn't have debt. But do you want to add something more into that? Means why we shouldn't have debt? Why it
Yeah.
is so bad?
Oh, it is. It's terrible. And that's how this method started, was by helping people to get out of debt. What people need to understand, and there's basically 4 things that keep us in debt. One is scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? People view resources as being scarce. Every dollar I earn is a dollar that someone else lost. So therefore, if I'm going to have something, I need to tighten that belt. Here's where the financial entertainers come in. The get out of debt industry tells us, tighten that belt, cut up those credit cards, work 3 jobs, live on ramen noodles, and never have any fun. That's their approach to getting out of debt. But the thing is, getting out of debt, it's not, you can't shrink your way to wealth. Wealth is not a game of reduction, it's a game of production. Not how will I take a small piece of the pie, but how will I grow my pie? So we have this scarcity mindset. People don't understand the opportunity cost of spending cash, of savings. We finance everything
Oh,
we
yeah.
buy,
Yeah.
whether it's by paying interest to a lender or by not earning interest on money that's being saved at 0.1, 0.2% in a bank that's sitting there stagnant so that the bank can invest it.
Oh, yeah.
And really, though, the key, the big thing that keeps people in debt is they focus on getting out of debt. And that sounds weird to some people. That focus is a good thing, don't get me wrong. We want to focus on our goal, but we want to focus on the right goal.
Mm-hmm.
Getting out of debt is what? It's working your way up to 0. If your definition of success is to reach 0, then even when you succeed, you failed.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
So the illustration I always use, Sue, is if you think of a marathon, the beginning of the marathon. Okay, Boston Marathon had 28,500 runners this year on one street. So imagine what a mess that was. If you're at the back of that pack of the marathon, you've got a long way to run just to reach the starting line. You're already tired before you even begin to run your 26.2 mile race.
Oh, yeah.
And financially, getting out of debt, that's not the finish line. That's not what we want to focus on. That's reaching the starting line. That's reaching zero, the starting line. Reaching the finish line is what? It's financial independence, retirement, passive income, however you frame it in your mind. The finish line is reaching that financial independence, okay? Let's say, so you run to get to the starting line. You're already tired, but now a race official sees you, Sue, calls you over and says, hey, I saw how far you had to run to get here to the starting line, and that's not fair. I'm going to drive you into the course and shorten that race for you. That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you could take that same energy and effort that you took to reach the starting line, to getting out of debt, force multiply it like banks do, so that now you teleport into that course and shorten the race to financial independence. Now you're using a tool. You're not just buying somebody's book. You're not just listening to a financial entertainer yell at you that the reason you're in debt is you've got no willpower and you've got no drive and determination. Now you've got a tool that's going to shorten your race for you, just like banks do.
Oh, yeah.
Banks don't run out and buy Dave Ramsey's books to learn what to do with their money.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's additional things that's the core of how I work with people, but I also help them in other ways to reduce taxes, to
Oh, yeah.
increase the legal and asset protection of their business, so that they can take things that they're spending their money on anyway, their housing, their utilities bill, the clothes on their back, turning them into deductible, business deductible tax, can't talk this morning, tax deductions.
No, yeah, that was my
expenses.
next question. How do these rich people, they hardly pay any tax? Means it was really surprising. Remember last time's election? Yeah, our president was unwilling to show his tax records.
Yeah.
Yeah, means of course they have hardly paid any. So
Yeah. Everyone knows that Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they don't pay taxes the same way that small businessmen do. They have full-time accountants on staff, one directive, save me taxes. They have full-time attorneys on staff with one directive, keep me out of the courtroom. Well, the little guy can't afford that, but he still needs it.
oh, yep.
So what I do, I'm not an accountant, I'm not an attorney, but I've partnered with someone who is, and they take some of those same business principles that your Buffetts and Gates and them use to save on taxes. And that's reverse engineering the wealthy. What do they do? I go all the way back to John D. Rockefeller, first millionaire, first billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? He had over 140 different legal entities, corporations, trusts, charitable foundations that he used to leverage his money and to save taxes.
Yeah, same with Jacqueline Kennedy,
And
I heard. She
yeah,
had so much of money, but she hardly paid any taxes. Yeah, so
yeah. Well, Rockefeller, he was a significant contributor to medical causes. Two diseases in particular. One was whooping cough, and I'm drawing a blank on what the other one right now. His contributions really led to the development of the vaccines to get rid of those diseases. Very charitable. And we can learn from how he structured his businesses and reverse engineer it. Again, no guesswork, no listening to your broke friends, no listening to the financial entertainers. Follow what we know works.
yeah, the path is already paved. Just follow the path. Yeah. So
Yeah,
tell us, how can you help us? Because most of the people, they are totally illiterate. Means I'm not saying most of the people, even I fall into that category because we never had that kind of education in college or school. Never. So
right.
just business 101 or just money management 101, budgeting 101. We never had any of those courses, not even elective. Forget means compulsory.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, the whole thing is it's a failure of the lending institutions, the failure of the government. There's no industry more heavily regulated than the banking industry, financial services industry. The government knows exactly how amortized loans work. I talk about that a lot and how incredibly unjust it is, how hypocritical it is, how the lending institutions work. And then you bring up the educational institutions, how they don't educate us about this. Thinking back to school, I didn't want to learn education, financial education from the teachers I had. They didn't know either.
Oh yeah, because when my husband did MBA, it was just like that. Means basically, people who were teaching over there, they didn't own their businesses. They were managing somebody else's business. So
Right.
what do you learn? It is business administration. It is not business owning.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
same with money.
exactly. So what I do, Sue, and I'd like to invite you, all your listeners, to take part if you wish. I do 2 weekly presentations, one on my course strategy. Think back to that marathon. Just what is the tools that we can leverage that will teleport us into the race and shorten that path to financial independence. I get into the details on just how that works. I also, every week, do a separate presentation on the tax deductions, legal and asset protection. What is the business structuring that we can use in order to make that happen, where we're turning the things we're already spending into business expenses, tax deductible expenses, because the two of those work together so well.
So this is a
One,
complete success package, right? Means it is
yes,
not just a financial education. It is a complete success package. Yeah. I sorry.
it's a
I want to know
success.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a success package that starts with the education but doesn't just stay there. It doesn't just leave it at that. Because, again, we need a tool. You can't just get the education, you can't just buy a book and all of a sudden, oh, I know exactly what to do. We need a tool that will help us recycle money. Okay, we drink that bottle of Coke and now that plastic bottle, it gets put in the recycle bin so it can be reused. We can do the same with our money. We can spend it while we save it, while we grow it, so it can be spent again. And the details of just how we can do that, I get into in those presentations. We don't have the time to dig into the weeds on that right now, but I do take time to say more about that. and to let people know how they can get that tool.
The tools are very, very important because they make your whatever path you are going, it is a little faster, efficient, and means basically effective. For example, if you want to have a mm, drill, means it will make your life easier than a hammer. You take any tool, any tool. So yeah, I mean, I would like to know more about the tools and just let us know means what tools available and how can we use them.
Yes, I'd be glad to. Can I let you and your listeners know that now, or?
Oh yeah, sure.
All right, very good. What you do is go to my website, nevertoomuchmoney.com.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertoomuchmoney.com, and two is spelled out, T-O-O. And there you'll find a little video, you'll find my social media connections, you'll be able to schedule a one-on-one conversation with me. And
Do we
you
have
can
to pay
also,
for it? Do we
no,
have? Okay, okay.
free consultation. And then as far as those presentations go, you'll see an email form there. Drop me an email, let me know you want an invitation, and I'll send you a direct invitation to those presentations. And they're very simple, they're easy to follow, and it's a gateway, it's a way to learn and know how you can get started shortening that course. So nevertoomuchmoney.com is the place to go.
So it's a no-brainer. It means basically, if I don't go to the site, then basically I will be hurting myself because means it is wealth education, and you have been genuinely helping us and educating us, and so means what is there means of course we want to learn. It is a win-win situation. So
Yeah.
totally appreciate your help and support, and I would like to know, I would like to go to the site, and I would set up appointment for myself. And yeah, my listeners, of course, they will be happy too because everybody needs it. Nobody is educated in that area. If someone is coming and giving the information, someone is genuinely interesting in helping you, why not? Why not?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm delighted to hear that, Sue. It'll be great to have that next conversation with you and with your listeners. I really look forward to it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I really appreciate. If any closing thought, or you want to summarize something, means you can say a sentences or two, and sure, we would like to know more. Just
I will leave with this one thing. When someone generally, when they start to work with a financial advisor, what does that advisor do? They'll say, hey, Sue, you give me money and I'll put it in this fund, in this account, in this whatever, and then you'll earn a return of X%. And then they ask, so how much money you want to put in that? And I feel that's exactly the wrong way that a financial advisor should work. I think a financial professional, instead of asking you how much money you want to give me, their responsibility is to provide you the way to put fuel in that tank, to identify the right tank to put the fuel into that's going to shorten that course, and provide you the way to fuel up that tank. And that's how I work with people. Rather than ask how much money you want to give me, I take a holistic view. How are you using your money today? Where can we find some inefficiencies? Where, with you being the decision maker, we can decide, hey, look, we can take this money you're already spending, move it over here in a more efficient direction, in the right tank. And then let's let that be the fuel that we use. I already mentioned one way I do that, by the tax deductions. But there are more, that when I work with people, I'm able to take that holistic view in examining how they're using that money today. How can we spend it better so that without taking food off the table and without digging deeper into your pocket, you're able to fuel this engine?
Sure. Thank you. Really, really appreciate. Thank you. And looking forward to your website and upcoming appointment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sue.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Always wonderful to visit with you.
Sure. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.